seen another titanium cross. Oh, dude.
All right, everybody at Night Shine Auto. I got Chuck for CP Lightning Stain on Instagram. Chuck, tell me, I mean, this wonderful automobile, tell me a little bit about it. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks for doing the video. So this is my 91 GT. It was recently built by Chris at the Infamous Project. So I am the original owner of this car. I bought this car in, I believe it was April of 1991. I was 18 years old. At the time, my dad helped me buy this car. He co-signed for it. And unfortunately, he was sick at the time. And within a year later, he passed away. And basically, because of how he structured the loan with the insurance and everything, the car got paid off for me. So I think it was his way of giving something that he knew that I would hold on to.
Cool.
Right, so that really kind of adds a lot to the emotional connection with the car.
Most definitely.
Since he hasn't been around since I was, just after I turned 19.
Wow.
So, but still have this.
Yeah.
So, in the early years of this car, this used to be mostly a drag car.
We're at the appropriate place for that.
We are.
Yes, we are.
But not today, not for this car. Yeah, so I kind of started, my first time was at like the high school drags when I was 16, and I liked it and kind of went on from there. And then this car went from bolt-ons to kind of becoming like a class car. I used to run like Fun Ford Weekend and 5.0 Shootout, like street stock primarily.
Wow.
So the car had a full roll cage, through the floor subframe connectors, 9-inch rear end, drag brakes, suspension. The last motor that was in it was a 310 cubic inch iron head, custom sheet metal intake, custom exhaust headers, all the good parts back in the day. However,
So it literally was a race car. I mean,
it was
through and through.
It was still registered, and I did drive it once in a while, but yes, it was more of a race car than anything else.
Okay.
So eventually, as a lot of people do, especially being early 20s, I kind of ran out of money with my desire to go fast.
Right.
So the car was sitting. I had friends that owned a performance shop, and they basically made me a really good offer to buy the drivetrain out of the car for a project they were working on. And I agreed. Then I used the money to help pay for school. I went back to get my degree. So the car also kind of helped me get ahead in life, I guess.
Okay,
right?
okay. Well, it helped you, yeah. Was that the original drivetrain? Did you just modify it, or?
It was the original block. It was the original trans.
Okay.
The trans had been worked by Liberty, so it was like a pro shifted T5.
Okay.
So they removed part of the teeth on the synchro, so you basically could just slam it. The block, it was still an iron block, it was the original block, but basically all the internals, it was steel crank, forged rods, custom pistons, all that good stuff. So after that, the car sat for 25 years. It moved around between my garage and spent time at my aunt's garage until she got elderly and had to move into a senior facility, so I lost that space and my free storage.
Gotcha.
And then came home for about a year, and then it went into a warehouse climate control for the last 7 years. And then in 2022, I started kind of getting the itch and started looking at or researching, like the YouTubers and getting information on 5.0s, which I found out at that time is their Fox bodies now.
Yep.
Right. So started watching all of Chris's content and most of the other big names as well, and kind of got ideas and really kind of got me kind of excited again. So I reached out to Chris, and long story short, he liked what I wanted to do. My expectations for budget kind of fit with what he thought he could work on through the project.
Good deal. Good deal.
And sent the car to him in Texas.
Now, did you paint the car?
Oh, no. This car
This
has
is original paint.
17,000 miles on it right now. Everything on the exterior, obviously minus the wheels, the badges, and the front splitter, everything else is completely original. None of the trim, moldings, nothing's ever been off the car. The spoiler was repainted because there was unfortunately some damage from storage.
It happens.
But it was basically just, this is the only, well, and
This
the
is
one
kind of the cool end. We'll get to the business end, but this is
the business end is even
this is-
cooler, but
yes.
this is really good too. So what you see back here,
and I will try to add some some shots at night in the videos.
this was done by Keith from K Designs. He was I think about an hour away from Chris down in whatever city in Texas. So he actually drove to Chris's shop in Cole's trailer, picked the car up, and he actually built this in the car. So this isn't technically one of his kits that he sells. This was custom made for this car
Okay.
with to accommodate the air tank and the compressor and the extra wiring and everything else, and how the amp and the sub are set up. So this part back here, I kind of had the vision of like how I wanted to see this.
That's a good vision.
And then how that is finished up there, that was Keith. We kind of talked about, we weren't really sure, so maybe we just leave it covered and he can always make a panel and ship it to me or whatever. But being a perfectionist, which I assume are pretty much most people Chris deals with are similar to him, that they are very detail oriented.
Right.
After it was done, he basically told me, he's like, look man, like this was too nice. I couldn't leave it. It had to be done. I couldn't not finish this the way it needed to be finished.
What is Project 50450?
So, like I said, I was getting, car was in storage. I'm getting a little older. I enjoy the car before I get too old. So, what that is 50. It stands for 50,
Mm-hmm.
and then 450 is I sent this car to Chris to be built basically for my 50th birthday. So it was a couple months after. So it was basically these like resurrecting, rebuilding the car, basically to kind of celebrate that
Okay.
milestone.
That's cool though. I mean, that's neat. It all blends together. So I mean, original paint. That's amazing.
It
and
is,
then-
I mean, like the moldings and the trim and everything is still basically as brand new.
As far as the interior, so
As far as the interior goes, door panels. Okay. So door panels, the console. Go ahead. The headliner, all the plastics are original to the car. Even the carpet, Chris was able to save the carpet even though it had a full cage.
wow.
Because I wanted to keep as much original. Obviously, we added the Recaro seats, 417 Fox kit for the radio, which actually my wife gave me that a couple years before we even got the car done, as for Christmas.
You keep coming, like you keep drawing me back.
If anybody really needs to know how important it is to keep cars in controlled environments, this is the perfect example. So we want to go look at the business end.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is what I'm looking forward to.
So the way I described it to Chris when we started is I wanted like the car to be the jewelry box and the engine bay and the engine to be kind of like the ring, right? Like you open that jewelry box and there's like that bling looking at you. So
Yeah, we can't miss this.
and this is how it turned out. So there are no panels, no Scott Rod, anything in here. This is all the original sheet metal that has been welded and filled and metal worked. So
I'm
front
trying
and
not to
back
be a
side.
fanboy here, but I am.
So that was done by Red Dog down in Texas. One of Chris's, I think, his main painter. Even the back sides are finished, rhino lined and painted to match the car. So even though you won't see it, it's one of those details.
there's one of the details right there too.
Yeah,
I love the
it did this
accents.
for the radio cap or radiator cap too.
yeah, the accents are amazing.
So one thing most people don't notice is the underside of the hood. For clearance, they actually cut the braces. You can see how much shorter they are.
Yep.
So these were cut and new sheet metal welded in, and while we were in there, we filled the holes in the underside of the hood, except in the center there, but and then the underside was painted. The top side is still original. Did not touch the outside of the hood. So that's another detail. That was the extra work was done to make it look a little nicer. The sheet metal modification was actually functional because of the intercooler on the Kenny Bell.
Okay. Okay.
So the motor is already dropped with solid mounts, but it still needed that little extra clearance. That was one thing I told Chris, is no matter what, you're not getting rid of that hood, you're gonna make it work. Whatever we put in here is gonna have to work with the stock hood.
I don't want you to have to say this on here, so don't feel obligated, but do you know the power numbers, or have you found out yet? Or I know you haven't had it long, so if you want to say it, you can say it. If you don't, that's fine.
Okay, so I haven't had it dynoed since it's been in this car. However, this came out of another car Chris is working on that upgraded to a larger motor.
Okay.
So obviously we refreshed it, new gaskets, cleaned, painted, detailed, all that. But in his car, I have a dyno sheet. This car had 389 horse, and I believe it was 426 foot-pounds at the rear wheel.
Okay.
So pretty respectable.
Yes, it is. I'd be very happy with that.
So the Kenny Bell, it's not like a turbo, not like anything. It's just very smooth. It really kind of feels like a naturally aspirated motor. It's different than say your Vortec. It's not as loud. It's
right.
It's good, and there was I think only a few of the Kenny Bells that were modified like this, the custom intercooler setup.
Okay.
So the tubing was all done by Chris.
Glass radiator pipe.
So
radiator hose, I mean, yeah.
Yep, killer glass.
So, I mean, thank you for doing this. This is amazing. Is there anything else, I mean, you want to add? I mean, that's, I know
also
there's
like
a
to
lot.
mention FP Performance.
There you go.
They did step up when we were building the car. They saw it online, and they sent us mufflers to put on the car.
Okay.
Basically, try them out. If you like them, spread the word. Beautiful piece. You've heard how the car sounds.
Yes.
So we'll give them a shout out to Keith from K Designs for what he did in the back. Obviously Chris. Chris really made this all possible.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you made it possible because you took care of this car for all those years. So yeah. Thank you.
Like you said.
I want to thank you for taking care of this car to be able to let us see this. So that's Cobra Sam.
Oh yeah.
But thank you so much. I'm going to end this by showing what's on the ground right now in front of the car, because that was pretty awesome. So 5.0 sound shaved engine bay and Project 50450. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.